Be a great thing for China, a great thing for the rest of the world.
Are you willing to lift export controls when it comes to China? Did you give your negotiators any sort of limitations?
We're going to see. Look, China has been ripping off the United States for many years. Nobody charged them 10 cents. No president had the courage to charge China for whatever the rest of the world want to do it. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars. I put on tariffs on China.
We're going to
see. Look, and we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. The United States for then I did it again, but I did it for a lot of others. If you look at the stats, 10 cents, no president. The deficit last month just cut in half. The rest of the world, everybody was shocked. I wasn't shocked. I think a lot of the billions of dollars I put on because tariffs saw the billions of dollars were pouring in, and the tariffs hadn't even started yet. Just about the United States for they were in some countries that are very minor. A lot of others. If you look at the stats, the deficit last month just cut in half. A big story every day was shocked. They said, I wasn't shocked. I think a lot of the billions of dollars announced this is how it works. I can't believe it. The numbers are very good. I think we're going to have a great one in some 4 years. You know, we had the greatest economy in history during my 4 years. I think this one has blown. It was cut in half. A big story every day was shocked. They said, go ahead.
Do you have a message for Greta Thunberg, and did she come up on your call with you?
Well, she's a strange person. She's a young age. I don't know if it's real anger. It's hard to believe. 4 years. You know, we had the greatest economy in history during my 4 years. I think this one has blown. It was cut in half. Anger management. I think she has to go to anger.
Do you have a message for Greta Thunberg, and did she come up on your call with you?
Well, she's a strange person.
As she said, was she kidnapped?
I think we had the greatest economy in history during my 4 years. I think this one has blown.
Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink service that you have here at the White House?
Well, she's a she said, I made moves. Was she
move it around. What do you mean? Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink service that you have here at the White House?
Well, she's
Ever see Elon Musk get physical with the Treasury Secretary?
No, I didn't. I did have a
Move it around. What do you mean?
I didn't see
Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink
Report
service
that he did not want to talk about. Elon Musk alleged Elon Musk getting physical with the Treasury was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal.
Move it around. What do you think he ever had serious complaints?
I really think so.
Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink
Report that he did not want to talk about. Elon Musk alleged Elon Musk getting physical with the Treasury was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal.
Move it around. What do you think he ever had serious complaints?
I really think so.
Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink Report that he did not want to talk about?
Elon Musk getting physical with the Treasury was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal.
What do you think he ever had serious complaints?
Are you going to get rid of the Tesla and the Starlink Report
That's all I can tell you.
getting physical with the Treasury was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal.
That was a serious. That was a lot of time. That was a lot of horrors last night. I watched that very closely. And it was amazing that the job that the National Guard did. And by the way, the police were working very hard also. But, you know, the police are given instructions to be politically correct. I said, no, you don't have to be politically correct. You have to do the job.
And on Elon Musk, do you plan to speak to him on the phone anytime soon? I know some.
Which one?
On Elon Musk, do you plan to speak to him on the phone anytime soon?
I haven't really thought about it, actually. I would imagine he wants to speak to me. I would think that. If I were him, I'd want to speak to me, and maybe he was already called. You'd have to ask him whether or not he's already called. But I'd have no problem with it.
If he calls you, pick up and speak to him.
Well, I don't want to say that, but I would imagine he'd want to talk to me.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please.
We're supposed to get a counter proposal from Iran today.
Have you gotten that proposal? And what
We
is
have
the
a
main
meeting on
impediment?
Thursday. We have a meeting with Iran on Thursday, so we're going to wait till Thursday.
And what's
for
the
that
main
proposal.
impediment to getting a deal?
Well, they're just asking for things that you can't do. They don't want to give up what they have to give up. You know what that is. They seek enrichment. We can't have enrichment. We want just the opposite. And so far, they're not there. I hate to say that because the alternative is a very, very dire one, but they're not there. They have given us their thoughts on the deal, and I said, you know, it's just not acceptable.
Miss-
I would say, yeah. I don't know if what else I can talk about the weather.
Well, you can talk about Lebanon.
Pretty much that's the main topic. Yeah.
Mr. President.
We talked about Lebanon also. Yeah, we did.
What about Lebanon?
Well, Lebanon's working very hard. They have a great new ambassador that I put there. Man I know very well. He's very smart. I didn't even know he was Lebanese. And I said, why would you want Lebanon? He said, I was born there. I love it. I love the people. I said, you know, it's very dangerous going to Lebanon. There are some ambassadorships that are wonderful. There are some that are dangerous. I said, Michel, his name is. It's a he, Michel, very elegant man. And I said, why would you want this? And he said, because I love my country and I love those people. I said, it's very dangerous. He goes, I don't care. This is not a man that lived on danger. He's a very successful man from here. And he wanted to be the ambassador despite probably a very dangerous situation he's going into. You see what's going on. But I had great respect for that. He loves that country. He loves it. He was born there. He loves the country. Yeah.
Mr. President, you've
Please.
got a big, beautiful parade coming up on Saturday.
We do.
What's your biggest expectations for that? Then I've got a second question in regards to Gavin Newsom. Go ahead and talk about the big, beautiful parade.
It's such a, thank you, Brian. It's such a, I think, important moment for this country. You know, 2 weeks ago I was calling people and back and forth with leaders, including President Putin, including French president, including lots of different people. And all of them said, we're celebrating victory in World War II. And I said, wow, isn't that amazing? We're the only one that wasn't celebrating, and we're the one that won the war. Now, Russia did help. They did lose 51 million people, in all fairness. People would say, oh, he's sticking up for Russia. No, they lost 51 million people. And, you know, we can't forget that. But France was celebrating. And, as you know, Hitler made a speech at the Eiffel Tower. But when I spoke to President Macron, he said, oh, we are celebrating the great victory of World War II. And I think that's great that he was doing it. But we're the one that won it, and we weren't celebrating. I said to myself, you know, isn't that crazy? And I think it's time for us to celebrate a little bit. You know, we've had a lot of victories. We won 2 world wars, and then we go out and change the name of the forts where we won the wars. You go out. We win world wars from Fort Robert E. Lee, from Fort Bragg, from all the different forts. And what do? We change the name of the forts because we want to be politically correct. So a lot of them we're changing back. You probably noticed Fort Bragg and others. But I think it's a time to celebrate our military. You know, we've rebuilt our military largely. Little low on ammunition. That's because it goes out very fast to other countries, one in particular. But we want to be politically correct. So we have a military the likes of which nobody has. Nobody comes close. We have the best equipment in the world. We make the best equipment in the world. There's no military like our military. We showed that with ISIS. I was told by the television generals it would take 4 years to win, and we did it in 3 weeks. And it was headed by General Raisin Kane, who's now the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He's great. Just left him. No, I think it's time that we celebrate. And I sort of have to laugh at these people. Well, you know, you're going to spend a lot of money. A lot of that money is being paid for by me and people that make donations. I don't know if you know that. A lot of it won't even come out of the military. I think I can say that, Susie, right? We have people putting up money to do it. Not that it's necessary, because I think it's a great expenditure. We have many tanks. We have all sorts of new ones and very old ones, old from World War I and World War II. It's really a celebration of the Army. So the Army is a year older than the country. So next year we celebrate 250 years, but we're celebrating the Army on Flag Day. And it's not my birthday. It is my birthday, but I'm not celebrating my birthday. I'm celebrating Flag Day. It happens to be the same day, so I take a little heat. But Flag Day is the appropriate date. And we're celebrating 250 years of the Army, a great service. And remember, you know, think of it. We won so much. We won World War I, World War II, so much else. And then we became politically correct. But I can only tell you that I was told that ISIS would take anywhere from 4 to 5 years, and we did it in 3 weeks. You were there, you watched, right? We have the greatest military in the world. Nobody can beat us. As long as we have our right leadership, nobody can beat us. If we have stupid people running it, like you had in Afghanistan, when you look at that, first of all, Afghanistan should have been an easy victory as a war, but we were so sad the way we fought it, so ridiculous. We fight not to win, but we didn't used to be that way. And we're celebrating, because I think the day in Afghanistan was the saddest period of time in the history of our country. That was a Biden mess with bad generals like Milley and others. They were bad. They were incompetent generals. I know all the good ones and the bad ones. We got rid of most of the bad ones. But it was time to celebrate, and that's what we're doing. So it's on June 14th, and it's going to be a parade the likes of which I don't know if we've ever had a parade like that. It's going to be incredible. We have even though it's the Army, we have a lot of those Army airplanes flying over the top, and we have tanks all over the place. So we have thousands and thousands of soldiers going to bravely march down the streets. It's going to be a beautiful day, I think, and we're going to celebrate our country.
You spoke of leadership, and real quickly, speaking of
California, you know, all that. But I'm just talking on results. You look, you know, here's the advantage of beautiful weather, maybe the best weather of any state when you think about it. Beautiful weather, beautiful ocean, beautiful everything. You have all the advantages. And he didn't take advantage of that. And he's let people come in by the millions who are overrunning your hospitals, your education system, and your police are being overrun. Look at what's happened.